I just want to take a few minutes to speak life into us, the teaching tribe. Man, these past years in teaching have been difficult. I mean, if you are in the classroom, you know what I'm talking about. Classroom behavior, the stories, if you've been doing this a while, you know the stories are getting more intense and worse. You hear about school shootings all the time. Beyond just the school shootings, in the district I work with, 2 weeks ago, at the high school, there was a total of 22 fights. 22 fights in one day. Students planned out these fights. If that does not tell you how bad things are in the classroom or in the class or in the school itself, I don't know what will. Behavior is getting worse and worse and worse. And the worst part about all of that, it doesn't seem like anything's being done about it. It just doesn't. I live in California. I can't speak to other states, but when I go through the ed code and I see the things that are allowed to happen in school, it makes my stomach sick. When I think about all those really good students, and there's a lot of good students, there's so many good students, but when I think about all the good students and what they have to put up with and the fear that some of them live with and the things that go on around them, my heart aches for them that we're allowing this to happen. So the behavior in the school, in the classroom is just off the chain. It really is. It really is. And then as teachers, so many times beyond just the student behavior, we have to deal with other things, such as administration. Do you know how hard a job is if you do not have the support of your administration? And the other part of it, the turnaround, the administration is only here for a short period of time. So if you're looking for leadership, if you're looking for guidance, for help, assistance, a big plan to change your school, it is hard to come by these days. Leaders, the principals, assistant principals, vice principals, all those, they're falling to the wayside, I think maybe even quicker than teachers are. So you're losing that stability in the school and in the classroom. And then if you do have somebody there trying to get support for them, they are so overwhelmed, it is hard to get that support. Beyond that, resources. We are lacking resources. If you're a teacher, you know how it is when you're trying to find that thing to help out that one student or those few students, and you know it's going to make a difference, but either the funding's not there, or the people aren't there, or something is in your way. There's a bottleneck in your way from helping out those kids. That's devastating. And so we're lacking the resources. And then when it comes to parent involvement, that's another thing. There are some parents that are outstanding, and they will have your back no matter what. But there's a good amount of parents that either don't care, or if they are involved, they're taking their child's side when there's been a wrong happening. And so we're losing that parent support piece of the puzzle to help out the students. You know, they always talk about, it takes a village to raise a child. But when you have people that are absent from the village and the building's burning down and, people are at each other's throats, there's no village. And so something needs to be done. And so here we are as teachers, we're stuck in this environment trying to do the best we can. Now, I don't want this to be a video about doom and gloom, because there is that, and you're going to hear plenty of that. And if you're in the trenches, you know what I'm talking about. But I want to give you just a little bit of hope, just a little bit of hope here. All right, I've been doing this teaching thing for 20 years now, and through that time period, I've seen it all. Oh, can I tell you? When I first started teaching, it was the worst experience I could ever imagine. I taught at a self-contained classroom in a self-contained school. I taught students that were expelled and given one last chance. They're the ones that came in, and that was the ones I had to teach. And first year teacher, it broke me. And then the second year, I actually got placed in another classroom outside of that environment. But it was still extremely rough. But then, then it was like early 2000s, we got the notice that they're gonna be laying people off. The RIF, right? Reductions in force. There was RIF notices that went out. Me being a new teacher, my job was in jeopardy. And I remember those days. I remember those days when they came. He knew it was coming. The superintendent went to our school, and they called up a select amount of teachers. And you knew if you're being called up, your job was on the line. And they called us up and said, "Hey, we're going through this process, and there's a good chance that you might lose your job." I was a new father. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went through the schooling. I got my teaching degree. I did my student teaching. I put a year, almost two, I think actually 2 years in at that point, 2-3 years in at that point. I did everything I was supposed to do, and now I was going to be let go. And it rocked my world. I mean, because as I'm supposed to be taking care of my family, and I'm getting noticed that it's all going to be gone. By the grace of God, I did not lose my job. I would think I was, and what they did is they went by seniority. They went by seniority, and I was the cutoff point. The person that was there, I think like a day or two after I got hired, they got let go, but I was able to stay on. And so that feeling of having to go through that, is agonizing. And there's more is coming our way. The budget cuts. Our school is going to be having a budget, our district is going to be talking about the budget, which means it's going to be happening down again, and we have to go through that whole process. It seems like the struggles never end. But once again, there's hope. There's hope. And that's what I want to speak to you about is I am not sure where you're at in your teaching career. You might be doing it a long time, you might be new to it, whatever else it is. But I've gone through those struggles. I've gone through the job struggles, the classroom struggles. I've faced personal struggles. You name it, those struggles are there. And when you're in the struggles, when you're in the trenches, it seems like there's no out. It seems like things are never going to get better. But looking back upon my life, looking back to see where I started and what I had to go through and barely hanging on, everything else, I can tell you 20 years into it, I love this job more than ever before. I really, really do. And don't be wrong, it's not that everything's perfect. It is not. But when you think about the job itself, if you're thinking about quitting, I ask you to consider this question. Why did you want to become a teacher to begin with? And is that reason still there? If you want to become a teacher because you want to help kids, are you still given the opportunity to help kids? I'm not negating all the other garbage we got to go through. We got to go through it, and we are going through it. And we shouldn't have to go through it. But if we're given the opportunity, if you want to do this job because you want to help kids, every day you still have the opportunity to help kids. Now, there's going to be some kids who are going to drive you crazy, but at least we have the opportunity. And I think about other professions out there that if I wasn't a teacher, what would I be doing? And there's something special about when a student comes back to you and say, "Thank you for being my teacher." That is special. When a student asks you to come to their graduation, that is special. When a student is being honored for something, they ask you to be there. There's not too many other jobs where that happens. There just isn't. And so the fact that we're in a profession where we get to see that and experience that, that gives me hope. It just does. It just does. And the other thing is, being just that I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy, and I can tell you that in my life experiences, the things that seemed to be the worst while I was going through it, later on turn about to be some of the most profound things in my life. I am not saying I want to go through those things again. I'm not saying those things were easy, but I can look back and see that the struggles I went through have made me to the person I am today. So all this to say, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. I know the struggles. I hear the stories every day about everything going on and all the problems, and I'm in there with you. I know about these. But if you're able to, just find a glimmer of sunshine in all of these struggles, it makes the day better. And I've heard and I truly believe that as long as you're moving forward, you're not stuck. Moving forward as a teacher and as far as your skills go, moving forward as far as who you are as a person, moving forward in your career, moving forward in your choices, as long as you are not giving up and you're moving forward, you're not stuck. So please don't give up, hang in there, fight the good fight. And together, the teacher tribe, man, we got to stay strong. If that village is falling apart around us, we have to be strong together. All right, everybody, take care.